Every man
before
does not
settling
need a
down.
whole face because there's a lot of time you end up wasting. Like, even me the other day, some days I sit down and be like, bro, how the hell did you have time? Go work, go school, this girl, go and still play sports, still go to girls' house, still do this. If you use a lot of that energy you used on women, like, don't get me wrong, you are doing your stuff. People get a false sense of reality in it, like, for both sides, both for men and women. I mean, people think they have so many options because the internet gives you so many options. Like, you can be scrolling today and see a new babe. See this babe, see this babe, see this babe. But you don't know what that babe is behind that camera.
Facts. So are you traditional in the sense where do you want like a traditional like marriage, or like are you open to like open marriages, like stuff like that? Some people, this Gen Z world, I used to the millennial and that millennial guy.
Very traditional.
Being in your 30s now, like I feel there's like when they say like it's your best, like your 30s are like amazing, like I feel there's just like a peace that comes with it because like you really don't care about anything anymore except like what really matters.
It's more of a carefree. I realize too, like when you get 30 plus now, as they say, you don't give a fuck anymore because
if you're as honest as possible, but like there's no harm in having like speaking to different people, because like I said, babes do the same. They have guys that they're speaking to and like trying to decipher who the best person is for them. But what I think is the wrong approach is like, before I settle down, let me just smash everybody, then I'll finally decide to settle down. I feel it's like counterproductive. Because welcome to the Emeka Nwani show, brought to you by Our House Studios. Here I'll bring interesting discussions with leading individuals in various fields, discussing their successes, setbacks, and everything in between. I also hope I can bring one or two laughs along the way. Welcome to the Emeka Nwani show. I have the special guest today in the building. Someone you'll definitely be very familiar with, the co-host of the Menisms podcast, an amazing content creator with over 250K followers on TikTok, 7 million likes, and he also hosts some of the best parties in Lagos. The founder of Sundays at Elashe, my G, Michael Sonariwo.
How you doing, G?
How you doing? Good to see you, bro. I feel it's going to be a really fun, a super fun episode because on your podcast, you talk about a lot of the things that I talk about as well. Being a man, insecurities, relationships. And I feel like you're talking to a lot of younger men as well with your own unique perspective. So I think it's going to be a super fun one, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed. Thank you for having me, man.
So I always ask this to start. How is Lagos stressing you in this moment?
I'm not stressed. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I've changed my mentality, so I'm blessed. As much as everybody's going through everything, you have to just find the positives in your stress, and then when you compare your stress to somebody else's, you realize I'm blessed. So that's how I'm seeing it now, because everybody's going through it this year.
I love it. I love the perspective. Okay, so just a brief one before we get into everything. Like your background, I know you're very proud to always say that you're, like a Nigerian American, growing up in the ATL. Can you just give us a bit of like a background on like how your upbringing was and like how it shaped you into the man that you are today?
So I mean, I was born in DC actually. So I was born in Washington, DC, and then when I was 4, my mom moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
But then I moved to Nigeria with my grandma. So while my mom moved to Atlanta to settle in, I went to go live with my grandma and my family that's in Nigeria.
Okay.
So I always tell people that age from 4 to 6 is where I really found myself, because I was in Lagos. I went to primary school here. I went to CTC. Some of my friends from CTC are still my friends from today, even though I was there for just 2 years. But living with my grandma is what really shaped me into who I am now. Obviously, my experiences in America, but those 2 years, I always say, were like the strong foundation I had. And then going back to America now was easy to adapt because educational-wise, Nigeria is more advanced. So that was easy for me. But then culturally, like, it was, again, easy to adapt because I'm still only 7 years old. So there's still a lot of stuff like you'll just adapt from your surroundings. Yeah. So I grew up with a lot of Black Americans, so I really relate with a lot of them, but I also grew up with a lot of Nigerians. So like, I always tell people from school days, Monday to Friday, I'm with the Black Americans, white Americans. Then Friday to Sunday, I'm with my Nigerians, because that's when you see your aunties and uncles on the weekend. Then I used to still go to Redeemed Church. So that's why it was easy for me when I moved to Nigeria to adapt, because it wasn't like I was one of these Nigerian Americans that is
Just
like,
yeah,
I don't know Nigeria. It's
yeah,
like, I remember going to school here as a kid, and then I was again with Nigerians there. So yeah, it's been a nice mix.
So like you like right now with all the stuff you do like in the content space, like you seem very like confident, outgoing. Like has that always been you? Were you like the popular kid growing up?
Yeah, I tell people, like, even with content now, like, it's nice to be a familiar face, but I've always been like that my whole life.
Yeah.
Because I was saying my 20s before, the way I got popular was I was an athlete. So
Okay.
a lot of people knew me from basketball, American football, soccer. So that's how I met a lot of guys, and then guys would hear about me. And then even throwing parties. I've been throwing parties and events now for 10 years. So been throwing parties since my first year of uni. So everybody used to come to my party, my university. Shout out to Hall University. Then even when I went to Love Bro, started my business there, started my entertainment business in London.
Okay.
Then I moved to Lagos after my master's, where I started my entertainment business, and it's been growing since then. So as I said, I've always been known, but then the last 2-3 years when I started TikTok like properly, that's when my face will travel more. And then obviously Sunday at Ilashed got my face out even more than Menism. So it's been a blessing. Just now I guess it's just more professional.
Yeah. So when did you realize you were like so really good at this stuff? So even forget about the content for now, we'll get to that. But like in terms of, throwing the parties and like the networking and all that, like has that always been a like desire of yours to, to do those things? Or is it more like, oh, you know what, you fell into it because you were kind of good at like networking, speaking to people? Like, do you always had that drive to, make a lot of money even at a young age?
So it was really, I've just been good with people most of my life. And that's because of sports. So when you play sports, especially in America, you play with so many people in terms of you play on travel teams, you travel to different places to play other people. So you meet other people. And America is so big and diverse that even like something as small as your neighborhoods are not like Nigeria, where everybody is in a gates compound now and is, if I know that friend, so be it. But in America, I could just go outside my house. There are different kids playing in different neighborhoods, and it's like, okay, we'll pull up on them. So that's what helped me in terms of mixing with people, even going to public school in America. Like my school, I tell people, like my middle school and high school, before I switched to a private school to play sports, we had about almost 1,500 people in our school. And that's normal for public school. So imagine how many people you're mixing around with. So that's what helped me. In terms of the parties and network, it was like in university, when I came into uni, I knew I was going to have fun. Like, and I partied a lot my first year. I almost got kicked out my first year even. But I think what helped me was in first year, I became so popular because of sports.
Okay.
And also going out, that I was able to relate with people. Then I became ACS president.
Okay.
So when I became ACS president, that's what sort of like gave me confidence to do things, because now I had authority and resources to do things. So I started throwing parties then in my second year. And when I saw like my parties were just packing out, I sort of figured out the formula early, which is the simple thing I always used to say was girls. Like, make sure the girls are. But then when I say girls are there, it's more different, whereby I always made sure the women were comfortable. And that's one foundation of my events that has brought me a lot of success up till now, because the women are comfortable. But outside of just coming to party, you're coming to network, because you would see like-minded people at my events. For example, if it's university now, you'll see the people in your courses that you can mix with that you might not mix with on a normal day. Then once I started the business, you'll see people maybe in your industry. And then in Nigeria, it's the same thing. When you see like-minded people that you went to school with, guys that are your guys now, it's like, okay, this guy brings a certain kind of people to his parties. That's why I want to keep going. So that's what's helped me so far.
So Sundays at Lasha, how's that been going? I know you have big plans for it. When did you realize, like, especially like in Nigeria, so you figured out the formula in the US, and of course it applies here, but like the logistics, the people here are a bit different. Sometimes there's a bit more. I feel here sometimes at parties, like people maybe instead of going in the pool, maybe they're on the sides with their phones and just things like that. So how was that process like for you?
So people wouldn't realize, or know, should I say, that I've been throwing beach parties now for years.
Okay.
So Sunday last year started in 2021, but I've been throwing beach parties since 2016. And when I started in 2016, it was more private beach parties where at first it was because my family members had a beach house. So from there, I'll bring friends. Then from university times, that's when I started making it a December party because that's when I would come to Nigeria. So always be a big Christmas beach party I'll do. Then when COVID happened, I had to shut down my entertainment business.
Okay.
And it was called EMG Entertainment. And even then we did beach parties. But when I came back, I knew I didn't want to really do the clubs anymore, the lounges, because it had just been a different time in COVID that made you want to pivot to different things. So eventually, when I said, okay, I want to still do parties, but what kind can I do? I'm like, wait, nobody does beach parties like my own because people started doing the beach in COVID. In fact, I'll tell you the funny thing. The beach got popular during COVID because nobody could go to the clubs anymore, right? But then nobody was locking off the beach and everything. Now, even though I wasn't in Nigeria, because I was stuck in London during this time, I used to watch all the snaps and people would call me about the beach. So I'll watch all the snaps the whole time I was in London, like, when I come back, I'm doing my own. So when I came back, said, you know what, I'm going to do beach parties. And it was a success when I was doing my private ones. Then eventually, content was blowing up. So I had one big beach party one time. And then when I did the beach party, I now went to the studio. I just so happened to go to the studio the next day. And I was watching all the videos now. And then I was like, yo, a song will go crazy with these highlights the way it is, but I don't want to use somebody else's song. Let me come up with my own. So I was in the studio recording. Then I was with a girl that helped me come up with the lyrics. So that's when I made the song Sunday Atila. Said, does your boyfriend know you're there?
Oh, yeah.
I attached the song to the highlights of the beach party I did. That's when it went viral. From there, that's when I was like, okay, I have something. Because again, like you said, when people saw the highlights of the beach party, they saw what was different. One, people are actually entering the pool. 2, girls are actually dancing. 3, people are mixing. People are actually playing games. In Lagos. So already those 4 factors already are like selling points that is like, yo, I have to come to this beach party. And then we've grown it since. But it's been, I would say in the process in these last 2-3 years of doing it, to the grace of God, we've grown so quick. There's been a lot of successes, but there's also been a lot of learning along the way. Because like you said, logistics across the beach each time, I've had to be like on the boat.
Safety as well.
You know, there's a lot of learning along the way.
I think what I noticed with you guys, like even like Chibi as well, with Chibiverse. And
shout out Chibs.
Yeah, and yourself, I feel like you guys are like brilliant marketers. Like the way there's a skill to it. And I noticed that I think people that fall by the wayside is because, maybe they're just looking to make money or, but like, I feel there's a skill to it. And I feel like you guys have mastered it. When you see how you guys curate the content, deliver the content, and like just how you give it to the public, I feel like you guys have kind of mastered that skill.
People buy, what I've learned with marketing is people buy into people. So it's sort of, it has its pros and cons, but if you can, sell a story to people or sell an experience. So for me, I'm blessed whereby I've been consistent over the amount of years to always have good parties. Like even if something like every party, something may go wrong, but you always see, I'll make sure, or even somebody like Chibi will make sure like that problem is resolved. So just having that consistency, people buy into it. And especially now with content, that's what's giving me my advantage now, because now it's like, oh, I can just make a video and everybody will see it.
So the TikTok, like how are you able to grow it that fast? Plus, how did you realize that like shit, like I'm good at this? Before you go, like I saw there was one like you put up, I think maybe it was even on Instagram, about how maybe the girl that called you and Asha is single, and that you're still the caption was, so a girl called maybe a guy and Asha or whatever, and the guy is now in a relationship.
It's me and Mariwa when we're dancing.
One of those ones. I was just like, just funny shit. I was just like,
so I've actually been doing TikTok now for 4 years. So that's what people won't realize is like since COVID. So that time that we were all in lockdown, that's when I started, because I remember I just started seeing this new thing, TikTok, like funny videos. And when I watch it, I'll be busting up laughing like, yo, it's not like Instagram or something. Like, these are funny. And then I said, wait, I think I'm funny. So I said, let me just try and do videos. But then the first question was, what's my niche? And I said, okay, let me talk about Lagos from my perspective, because at that time, I was already running a lot of the lounges and things in Lagos. So I already knew about Lagos nightlife fully. So that's what was my first focus. And that's what blew me up quick, because I would talk about Lagos from a different funny perspective. Everybody be like, oh, that's actually true. How does this guy know? And it was, again, consistency. So that confidence from the first month of doing it made me say, okay, let me try different things and talk about my life. But because I've lived in 3 different countries, I've lived in Nigeria, I've lived in the UK, I've lived in America, but there are Nigerians there. What can I talk about that all 3 of them can relate to it that I can? And that consistency is what helped me grow. Then obviously there's been phases. There was a content phase at first where it's just me making content about myself, funny experiences. Then from there, Sunday Last Year grew quick because of TikTok, because I used to just throw videos. Once I made the song viral, story times about Sunday at Last Year viral, highlights of Sunday Last Year viral, me just making videos that will at least have an indirect on Sunday Last Year skits. That's what made it viral. Then now the phase I'm at is storytelling, which I was doing before, but now it's more consistent. Whereas like I just tell stories about my life, but I say it in such a detailed way. People are like, they feel like they're part of the story. And the best thing is there's evidence every time for every story. So it's not like, this guy is making it up.
And I think another cool thing is that I feel your content is also relatable with babes. Like you, like guys and girls, like find it funny, and like you're able to like kind of take the piss out of yourself.
Yeah, because it's not. I tell people, it's like, why? I have nothing to be. If I'm the one telling you, like, what am I ashamed about? And in the end, like, I'm somebody now, so there's nothing you can say. And the thing is, even with women, is funny. People don't realize I grew up with women my whole life, and including like cousins that are my sisters, basically my aunties, uncles. At one point, I was the only boy in my household for a long while. So it's like, I'm around women that is like, I've learned how to talk because I watch how all of them talk. My cousins, my sisters too, like they'll bring me around their friends all the time. I'm the only guy. So when I talk about things on social media, especially like when I'm talking about women, I always make it in a funny way, like I'm talking to my sister, because the internet, you have to be careful as a guy how you speak, because one wrong thing now, cancel. So it's like, I'll make it funny at least, that it's like, act like you had a brother and he'll take the piss. This is how he'll talk.
Yeah. So what are the pressure to create content? Do you feel that?
I used to a lot. When I started really blowing up, it's like, oh, I had to make a video now. Oh, I had to do this. Obviously, I watch other content creators too that I like, and I watch what they do, and it's just like, like, and it's a comparison. But then you have to also now, and this is why I said it's been a process that I'm now just getting to, of being present in terms of not comparing yourself, because comparison is a thief of joy.
For sure.
Then 2, just knowing, at least if you can see the progress, you're on the right track. Obviously, you still can take things from people, but like I say, people, like a friend of mine even just told me this the other day. She said that you put too much pressure on yourself, because you will be seeing videos and you'll be seeing just like 15K, 20K, 30K, thinking, I should get more. It's like, do you realize how many people are watching your video right now? So it's like, okay, fair enough. Like,
good point. All right, bro, to get to know you a bit better, I have some questions.
All right.
First one, light one, favorite holiday destination?
That I've been to, or I want to go to?
No, that you've been to.
Oh, Punta Cana, the Dominican Republic. Was beautiful, man. Like,
I'm sorry, when I hear Dominican,
because I guess it was one of these, I didn't, it's like, again, it was blessing. I never thought
is it for the reasons I'm thinking, or is it just
it's not. No, it's not. The funny thing is, I slept. So I'm actually an old man inside. I'm one of those ones, like when I go on holiday, I want to sleep, because
crashing the hotel.
Weather was beautiful, the scenery, like I remember just going on the beach, lighting a J.
Bliss. All right, cool. Night in or night out? Honestly, because everyone says night in.
I'm actually a night in guy now. Just because I think because in Lagos I partied for so many, there's nothing new really attracting me now. But obviously there's some nights we can go out. I'd rather even have a nice day party. Like that's why I like beach parties, because I can party from 12, 6, 7 p.m. We are done. I can go home and sleep and still wake up in the morning.
Yeah. Okay, so as the Menisms podcast host, what's your favorite thing about being a man? Slightly tougher now.
My favorite thing about being a man, I don't have to go through the physical stress that women have to go through.
Okay.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
Because when you get a girlfriend, especially, you start to notice a lot of things that you're like, so this is what you guys go through regularly? So I'm good.
Okay. So opposite now, what's the least favorite thing about being a man?
Pressure. Yeah. Because there's no rich wife I can go out. Well, not to say there's no rich. Well,
I mean, the dynamics
it's
are
political,
yeah.
but you know, as a woman now, I'm not saying you should again because women say, but the likelihood of a woman now, if everything is going wrong, but I find baby has a good sense on her shoulders, you can find one man that can take care of you.
Yeah, dynamics are different. So what's your favorite sport and who's your favorite team in that sport?
I have favorite sports. That's it. So my favorite sports are basketball, American football, and I love football in terms of soccer also. My favorite team in basketball, I don't have one anymore. I'm a very big fan of the NBA. I've been a fan of the NBA since I was a kid. I've been a Miami Heat fan my whole life, but once Dwayne Wade retired, it was like, that's it.
Wade County.
Exactly. So now I support LeBron, obviously the Lakers. I support Atlanta because the home team, but I'm a fan of the NBA. In the NFL, I support the Falcons. Like I'm a diehard Falcons fan because I'm from Atlanta. Then football, I'm a United fan.
Okay. Yeah, similar there. So for me, yeah, LeBron. So I've been following the NBA as well for like way old school. So like my first team ever was like, show how old I am, was the Pacers, Reggie Miller time. That was like the first. I remember growing up and like seeing like the Pacers and the Pistons, like those battles with Ben Wallace, Rashid, all them guys, Chauncey. Was Tayshaun Prince as well. So those are like my first ones. Then my favorite team after that was the Wade and Shaq Heat. Wade and Shaq Heat were that was mine.
That was 06.
And then I kind of started. I started hating LeBron like from the beginning. Then I don't know, for whatever reason,
I've never hated LeBron. That's the thing.
So I don't know. So at the start, I was like, this was like maybe when he first went to the Heat, like natural. Like everyone was like, why did you go? So I remember like being one of those people. Then for some reason, it just flipped. And like he's like literally my favorite athlete.
I was happy because I was a Miami Heat fan from the day they drafted Wade. But then even LeBron, like I actually watched LeBron in high school because I was a Yankee nut. Like that's why I was arguing with my friends recently because we're all talking about how all of you watch games. I remember I'm just like, trust me, at least in America, they were showing on
his high school games on TV,
on ESPN. So
okay, so who was your favorite artist growing up, like musician?
I had a lot. That's the problem. I had a lot. I'm a very, very, very big 2000s music head.
Okay.
Like from 2000, 2010, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still a music head now, but then like all your major artists, like the typical 50 Cents, Ja Rule, all them, like I listened to everybody growing up. So, because I used to be like the mix CD kid.
Okay.
So, like when LimeWire, just to show my age, when LimeWire like popped off now, I used to be the one that would make mixtapes from LimeWire. So, I'll download the songs, put them on the CD, label them on the CD, go to school and start selling them for like $5 each now. And just be like
30 plus, like myself.
Yeah, man. So, I was a big fan of everybody, man.
Okay. Would you be able to change the past or see the future? Actually, no, none is not an option.
I don't want to ruin it like none, man. I don't want to. Obviously, see the future. My past is my past. Like, you need the past for the experiences that make you who you are.
Yeah.
Because in the end, what am I going to say? Oh, yeah, I'll go and take school. Like me now, if I was really going in the past, last class, in America, I'll take school seriously. But if I took school seriously, I don't go to Nigeria.
Yeah.
So it's like, even seeing the future now, like, even God himself no go show you future.
Scary,
so that's like,
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so slightly more difficult one. What is one thing you want Lagos babes to know about us, about guys? Or to understand?
I'm going to say two things.
Okay.
For me, I think Lagos babes are the most chilled individuals. I understand why a lot of them are guarded because a lot of crazy ass dudes out there. Because I can only speak for myself. For me, I'm not crazy. So that's why I said I understand it. Yeah. So that's why I like teasing them a lot, but they're chilled. One thing they should know about men actually can be very chill to you if you're very chill to us. Like, even like I tell girls, like, you know when you have those female homegirls that are like your guys, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're still willing to do anything for them, like, you get what I'm saying, and still treat them like ladies because there's a way they rock with you. You get what I'm saying? And sometimes that's all we want.
Yeah.
But, you hear the stigmas of Lagos babes. And that's why I say it's not every Lagos babe. It's just the stereotypes they say about, oh, it's just money, they want this. Yeah, they're those ones. But unfortunately, a lot of younger girls now are starting to hold that mantle with confidence. And it's like, you carry yourself like that. There's a reason why the guys are going to treat you like you're just an item because you have a price tag on your head. So if we all start actually trying to be friends again, and again, it's not like we're not all adults. There are boundaries you can set.
Of course.
If you set those boundaries and you're cool, if the person doesn't respect your boundary, they don't need to be your friend. If they respect your boundary, then build a friendship. That's all.
I hear you. Love that. So what do you think us Lagos guys can do better?
Treat women like human beings and not sexual items.
All right, congrats, bro. I hear you have a lady now. So, but we're still going to talk about a few things, though. I hope I'm not going to get in trouble, Sha, but
no, you're good. You're good.
All right. So, as a former self-proclaimed ladies' man,
I was never a self-proclaimed ladies' man.
I heard on your podcast, you said like you had states.
Yeah, that doesn't mean, that's not me saying I'm a ladies' man.
So you never say you're a ladies' man?
Nah, I'll never. Why would I? Hey ladies, I'm a ladies' man. Like that even.
All right.
Did I have girls I used to talk to and see? Yeah. The same way girls will have a roster.
Yeah. All right. So how was that phase in your life? Like when you had those experiences, and what did you learn about yourself?
It's fun in the moment. But obviously, like as you get older and you reflect, there are like some things you wish you handled better.
Yeah.
Like some relationships you handled better, some girls you handled better. And obviously everything happens for a reason. So I would say I'm glad I got to experience it because I did what any 20-something-year-old should do when they're single. I dated. I got to experience different people. And obviously, when, with us, especially in our generation and culture, you say dated, people say, hey, you slept with them. It doesn't mean that. I mean, literally dated, like, interacted with girls.
As you should.
As I should, as a 20-some-year-old. You get what I'm saying? It's not like I'm a 40-plus-year-old man with wife and kids that I was like, oh, yes, I was just frolicking with girls. What? No. I did what anybody should do. And the thing is, like, I always said the same thing. The same thing I was doing, I don't care if women are doing it. They're supposed to do it because we're all young and single.
Yeah.
In fact, I learned a lot of my stuff from women. That's the funny thing. So I had fun with it. I would have just said I wish I handled some things better. Well,
you learn from those. Like that's the point.
That exactly. That's the point. That's why I said really now, as I look at it now, I don't have any regrets because there's a reason why I'm able to have all these stories now.
So do you feel like every man needs a bit of a whole phase?
No, every man does not need a whole phase because there's a lot of time you end up wasting. Like, even me, the other day, some days I sit down and be like, bro, how the hell did you have time? Go work, go school, have this girl, go and still play sports, still go to girls' house, still do this. If you used a lot of that energy you used on women, like, don't get me wrong, you were doing your stuff, but imagine if you are now just using that extra energy for your work, your this, a lot could have changed. You get what I'm saying?
I think you make a great point. For me, like when I ask that question and when I hear people say it, I feel it's important to date, like you said, like as guys, if you're as honest as possible, but like there's no harm in having like speaking to different people because like I said, babes do the same. They have guys that they're speaking to and like trying to decipher who the best person is for them. But what I think is the wrong approach is like, before I settle down, let me just smash everybody. Then I'll finally decide to settle down. I feel it's like counterproductive because you're just, first of all, you're wasting time. I feel like you're also confusing yourself because you're just like, the more people you have, and like you're just like experimenting with, it's like first of all, apart from the waste of time, it's like you also, when you decide to get serious, I just wonder how do you go from that to, like being
the funny thing is it wasn't
it's tougher though.
Here's the funny thing. It wasn't like it was years of this because I tell people that before COVID, I was in a relationship for 3 years. It was long distance, but 3 years already of my 20s now relationship. Then before that now, if I look at it now, my undergrad, I was single 3 out of the 4 years. There was 1 year I had a relationship that lasted maybe 7-8 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Undergrad, where I'm supposed to even be getting my degree. So let's leave those 4 years. Masters, single for most of the year until the end of the year. I get a girlfriend, 3 years now with a girlfriend long distance. COVID happens, break up. Okay, from COVID up until now, I was single, like I'm supposed to be. So if you see in that timeline, there's different. It wasn't like the whole time single. There's experiences. You get what I'm saying? The time I'm supposed to be single for the 2-3 years, I did what I was supposed to do. When I was in a relationship. So that's why I said for everybody's journey is different. Not that you should aim for every girl, but if you find somebody, try and work on actually seeing if you guys are compatible in that way, so you don't waste time on and off.
I think it's important because you again, like if you don't, you need to have experiences. Like I knew what I wanted in a wife because I dated people to know, not in a bad way, but you know what you like and what you don't like, what you're compatible with and what you're not compatible with.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of girls I know. If I didn't date,
and they're amazing, and they might be amazing for someone else. They're attractive, maybe personality for someone else. But I feel again, as guys, there's no harm in dating healthily. Again, being as honest as you can. Not like you're promising everybody your ring and it's like, and then you know what I mean. But like you're dating as honestly as you can, because I feel women are they get more attention than guys naturally. But like I think they're very okay with having options and being able to pick and decipher from their options.
No, so I mean, men. Don't get me wrong. Men we're the same way. If we have options now,
but we do. But naturally, an attractive girl will have a lot more guys speaking to her than an attractive guy. Like I think a guy, you have to make you have to pursue, right? So I feel like it's fine to have to experience and to date, but like what I'm against like young guys doing is like feeling like, oh, to make my decision or to decide like you must like sleep with all of them. It's like, no, that doesn't necessarily help. But like I feel like the actual communication, the finding the compatibility, dating, speaking, and of course if there has to be physical, fine, but like I think the approach has to be more measured, because I feel you just confuse yourself. Imagine, I don't know if you've been in an experience where maybe the relationship or the situationship is quite toxic, but like the sex is like amazing, and then it can like also cloud your judgment and like making the wrong decision to commit. It's very delicate, but like I think there are healthier ways to approach it.
I don't disagree at all. I think that's definitely the right way forward.
Yeah. So what you're looking for in a woman now changed? Like, obviously you have a lady now, but like, so like what you used to look for and what you look for now, has that changed a lot in a woman?
No. I just was looking for a friend, to be honest, and a friend with the qualities I want in a wife, a girlfriend. That's what I was always looking for, and then I just so happened the person's been my friend for so long, but it's like we never really had time to interact in that way. And then when we did, it was just organic and it grew so quick, but it wasn't one of those ones that was rushed. It's like you both felt it. And it's like, especially when you're an adult now, you don't really have time to waste in terms of like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just play this game. Yeah. I mean, at first I tried to, and then it was just like, eventually it's just like, what am I doing? Like, bro, you're a grown-ass man. If you like the girl, tell her.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask what you're looking for in a wife. So I think you answered that. First of all, the friendship.
Friendship is, because the reason I say a friendship is, if you have a friendship, everything else falls into place, because even when you have your differences, you'll find common ground. When you have different if you have similar backgrounds also, that's another thing. It helps. But if you have different backgrounds, that friendship helps you navigate within that. That friendship helps you grow to love each other. When I say I'm looking for the right what's the word? Help me out, married man.
So what like the
unconditionally.
Okay, love
friendship helps you love each other unconditionally, because you're not worried about just the appearance, the physical of the person. It's more of the mental of the person, their mindset, and that mindset is what's going to trickle down into other things like being a mother, being a good spouse, being a good caretaker of the household, in terms of like a woman is who keeps the house together. So those are the things you look for.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like from my experience, like again, the friendship is super important, because again, of course there's the attraction and everything, but like that friendship is what keeps you guys, when you're living together, there's no one around. It's like, you guys get along, you guys like to do stuff together. I think those things help a lot. The values, I think values are very important, because again, dating in the past, like you meet people that are great people, but just different values, right? Maybe like, there's certain things, the way you see certain things, like a family, or maybe she's more like traditional or more liberal than you, or there are different things that sometimes can be deal breakers, no matter how great the person is. So I think similar values helps. Like, how do you guys see the world? How do you guys, see different situations? I think that helps. And I think that friendship, and of course attraction matters as well. I feel it matters. People might try to say it doesn't, but there has to be.
It definitely does.
It definitely does. There has to be that level of attraction. But again, I think that friendship and the bond is important because, of course, attraction will fade somewhat. People will get, I mean, actually, looks will fade, but because of that love and because of that friendship and the relationship, I feel you don't necessarily notice that, oh, maybe she's not as this. You just kind of see her the same because the love and the friendship is there. So, yeah, for young people, I think friendship values somewhat attraction for sure. And yeah, just maybe similar outlooks on life.
Okay.
So why do you feel like men and women like today they're not really connecting? It feels there's a lot of like mistrust and like, everyone seems to be willing to do everyone dirty. So maybe now like babes are kind of getting their own back for what like guys have done. It just seems like there's a lot of like toxicity going on in like our bubble.
I'll say the internet, to be honest. The internet has given so many people platforms to speak their opinion when it's not needed. It's not to say anybody can't express their opinion, but because it's now so accessible
and it's influencing people as well.
The narratives that are pushed the most are the narratives that are spoken about the most, and toxic narratives are what usually sell. So I'm guilty of it sometimes with the content I do, like the skits and all that, but like there's a storyline with it each time that I'm trying to like get across. It's like for people to see how just they look when they're doing these things. But that's what sells on the internet now, and I feel like people get a false sense of reality in it, like for both sides, both for men and women. I mean, people think they have so many options because the internet gives you so many options. Like you can be scrolling today and see a new babe. See this babe, see this babe, see this babe, but you don't know what that babe is behind that camera.
Facts.
And it's something like I've been guilty of it too at one point in life.
I think we all have.
Like you've all been guilty of it, then you have to like come back to self and like really look at yourself and say, wait, first off, who am I? Secondly, do I even know these people and what's going on behind closed doors? So that's just it. It's just the internet. Like if you took everybody's phones away, trust me, everybody will start behaving after a while.
And and also, like I said, I think what sells, because how many times do you come online to see like, oh, a man come out and be like, oh, like my wife is so amazing.
You don't see. I always say that you never really see the good
people
content, like you say,
enjoying themselves.
The good content of healthy relationships pushed is always the drama of, oh, this person's cheating again, this person's cheating. But then I always say, when they do it, look at the individuals they're speaking of. They're not the average person or people in your circle. So why do you want to follow them or be like them? It's like when I see some, let me speak both ways. The same way, because girls say I'm attacking them. So guys, when some of these young guys or other guys are seeing like Yahoo boys and saying, oh, I want that life, or fraudsters, I want that life. I'm like, you don't know what that fraudster or Yahoo boy is going through behind closed scenes. Yes, the money is nice for now, but can he sleep at night? Do you realize they can extradite you to America from here? That kind of thing. So same way with girls, they see, okay, the love and hip hop girls, the entertainment girls, but it's like those are the girls that today 40 something, never married, nothing, different baby fathers, all that. Yes, okay, they might have money, but where is the money even coming from?
So how do you deal with the challenges of, again, like social media? So again, being in a relationship, and I feel like most guys have gone through this, where again, like you're seeing so much like content of like, again, this is not an attack on women, like I said, but like different women. Again, like there was a stat about how like there's more access to women than like ever before in history. From what, you understand that more than like, our granddads or whatever saw in like their whole lifetime, or like in a day you can scroll. So how do you deal with that? Like, the new like stimuli, like, or stimulus all the time?
To be honest, I mean, I know who I am. I know myself. I've been through the phase already where I won't lie to you. Like when I started content, what? I won't lie to you. Like that first time, like when I was going viral at first, like again, I already was popular, but once I really got out there, I won't lie to you, I fell for the trap where it's like you thought you had access. Okay, when you meet some of these girls in person, you're like, huh? So I've been through it. I will not lie to myself and say I didn't do it, but now it's like I say, you have to just keep yourself grounded. You know what it entails. Like, and again, for me, somebody in my position, I've seen it. I do parties. I've done events for years. I've been around many, many women, and I'm at peace with mine now. Like, I'm happy. I'm blessed to have a So I'm good. She entertains me enough that is like I'm good. And again, you know what's on the other side. You're always going to be bad bees everywhere. Even your own babe, that's your bad bee, your number one bad bee. She'll compete against my girl. Will compete against anybody, but you're still going to see other ones.
And it will never
but
like it will
it will
never
end. But
like,
then it's like you have to now as a guy just say, okay. They look on the outside looks nice, but then for me it's like what's in here, and that's the stress I don't want in my life.
And I think experience. So like experience is one way because again, like I feel it's very natural to kind of fall for those traps, enter those DMs, try and like, the grass always looks greener, right? But like where then I think when you have those experiences where you now then maybe meet up with someone that you like thought about, like, was crazy, and like, that kind of thing, then you kind of get more, you build that whatever, like, this doesn't like, you don't get as like deceived by it, or like, all that glitters isn't gold. And I think also just looking at other people's mistakes, people maybe throwing away like a healthy relationship for something, and it's like they regret it, so. But I think as guys, it's tough, and I would say we're not women, so we don't know how it is from their perspective. But as guys, sometimes I think visually we get very distracted, and then makes you sometimes, like they say, that you don't water your own grass because you're looking at like the other side. So I think the older I got, and obviously now I'm married, that's not really a problem. But like I think before, the older you get, I think you kind of get those experiences that you understand, like and that's why I was like, I'm going to push through my woman, because you always feel like it's very easy to always feel like there's someone better or something better, and it's like that's like the biggest mistake I think people are making in our generation. Like they're always thinking like, oh, there's someone better, there's something better.
I'll tell you for free, it's not. I remember. What made me realize it wasn't, I remember there was a time I saw one girl that I'd been dreaming about for years. Like, I'd been on the sidelines waiting. Like, we talked and all, but we weren't in the same country.
Yeah.
Then I've been plotting for years. A day, again, the same country as you. Don't worry. Lo and behold, gone the same country. Finally met up. I thought everything was going well. Everything was going well. Until, like, after a day chilling with her, it's like the next day I just started seeing the flaws. That it was like after a while, it was just like, is it even worth it anymore? Like, and it was now even stressing me, because the worst part is she now ended up liking me more than I like. Like, the first day you link, then the second day she's in. I know she likes me, so it's like I'm in. But now it's me that's the apprehensive one. Like, and mind you, for years I'd been dreaming. From that day, I was just like, you see yourself.
That's how it is. I think that I was speaking to a friend the other day about like happiness and contentment, and I think contentment is almost maybe more important, because I think happiness, I mean, it kind of is a bit more of a fluid thing, but I think contentment is like you're satisfied, like you're filled, like you're okay, and I think it's okay to be content. And not saying like you're not happy with your spouse or your whatever, but like I think that feeling of satisfaction and contentment, I think, is very, very powerful, because again, there's some days you won't be happy with your spouse, you're fighting, or like you're this,
but
and
you have to come back,
and there's some days you're super in love. It's like but I think when you reach that level of contentment, what, I found my person, and there's nothing better out there. Like I think that's a powerful thing that us guys can realize. So are you traditional in the sense where do you want like a traditional like marriage, or like are you open to like open marriages, like stuff like that? Some people this Gen Z world, I used to the millennial and that millennial guy.
Very, very traditional.
So no open, no polyamory. And what's all the different ones? Polyamory,
because I know the kind of women I like to date. If I even try and bring up polyamory, they'll say, okay, me too, I'm going to do my own. I'm like, I can't handle that.
I shall say that for a Gen Z, because I know when I speak to other people, myself, I'm exactly the same. Like when I hear the concept,
I don't like sharing.
When I hear the concept, it's like it seems crazy to me. But like when you hear them explain, it's like, oh no, it brings us closer, because we're able to share.
Because even me, I thought about it. Even I'm like, okay, 2 women, and I'm like, you've dated 2 women at the same time. Not even that they knew about each other, but the mental stress you are going through. So imagine they now know each other. They might pose as friends, but the day there's fights in the house, nah, it ain't worth it be.
Okay, so now going to, again, being the co-host of the Menizens podcast, just a bit about manhood before we close. So I don't know, like, what is like manhood? What does it mean to you? Like, what does it mean to you to be a man? Tough one.
Yeah, because there's there's so many definitions we say as men in terms of that are more providing in terms of being able to do ABC, which is true. Being able to provide for yourself, being able to provide for others. But I think being a man really is understanding the concept of responsibility in all aspects of your life, because responsibility can come from your work, your family, your relationships, how you carry yourself. So that's why I say responsibility of the actions in your life. I think being a man is also being somebody that can provide, not in terms of just monetarily, but provide knowledge, provide wisdom, provide help in other ways.
Yeah.
As I said, and it still comes down to being a provider. So being able to provide and being able to, what was the first thing I said again?
So you said like providing, not just monetarily, like in other ways, I'm guessing emotionally,
Yes,
things like that.
Yes, so yeah, I'm basically like that. I said it's weird. Like my own concept is different. It's not just a typical
Yes, I hear you.
thing. It's just I try and make people think outside the box about being a man, because there's a lot of pressures we face. Sorry, just thinking of the stereotypical things when there's so much more to it that we're not even taught ourselves from our own fathers at times. We have to, it's a journey. Every man has to figure it out for himself. And then if you're blessed enough to have men in your life that teach you those things, then you have a bonus in life. Thanks. But if not, you're on the same journey as a lot of men where we're figuring these things out. But the difference of what makes you a man is how you apply the things you learn and how you're impacting others in those ways.
Facts. So you just touched on it a bit there now. So like, how do you deal with like fears and insecurities and like the pressure that society sometimes, puts on us?
Reese, I've been dealing with it actually a lot this year. Funny enough, before I used to have other ways to handle it, which was just burying myself in work or just like compartmentalize it. Yeah, about to say master's degree. But recently I had to just come back to God, and it's when I say, and it sounds not like I wasn't close to God, but I know, like, when you two, your walk with Him, and you were slipping.
Yeah,
I'll say I was slipping quite a bit, and recently, this last year, He's forced me to come back.
Yeah.
So with all those problems you said, it's so funny, like, just reading the Bible again recently and just going back to church now is like, all the answers are there, literally. And it's like, even today I was reading a passage in, was it Numbers? Yeah, it was in Numbers, and it was talking about how, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was when Moses and Aaron now, they were in the wilderness with the Israelites, and they were all panicking because they didn't know their direction. So they all wanted to rebel against God now because they didn't have faith. And then God was like, "Oh, He's ready to spice everybody down." Then Moses had to beg.
It was very deep. Like when God was like, like basically like, "F you guys."
Exactly. So even me, when I read it, I was just like, that deep. But it's like Moses had to beg. So it was just like, what I learned from it is just like how you have to keep the faith in it, because there was a promise God gave Caleb from Moses. Like, just because he kept his faith throughout that 45 years. So, like you said,
they saw the promised land because they, like Caleb, he believed.
He kept his faith in God the whole time. So it's like similarly now, when you ask me about how do I deal with anxiety, with fears, it's just like I have to just trust God, like give my plans to Him, and then the plans that He shows me that are meant for me now, I had to trust Him in that process. But it doesn't mean I don't have to put the work in as I trust Him, because a lot of people think, oh, I trust God, and then you're chilling.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you have to put the work in, but keep the faith even when you're going through those dark times. So that's how I'm starting to deal with it now, is like just really going back to God.
I love that, bro. And just a bit of an aside from like the manhood part, like it's all like your faith. Like, do you feel like, again, for maybe like young Nigerians and like young people, like when you get into, I notice when people kind of get into like, maybe when they get a bit older, they get a bit more in a serious relationship, or they're married, and like, there's more work pressures and stuff, then we kind of go back to God a bit. And it's not like in a bad way, right? But it's just more like when we're younger, it's like maybe we don't, because
you don't realize what you're going through till like you get to, like, I didn't even realize, because like I said, even me, like the last few years, the way life was, I was just like going, like I was having so much success so quick. It's not like I've not had successes, but like the last few years, like God was really blessing me that it was so quick. I was surrounded by so many people. I was meeting so many people. I'm going here, I'm flying here, I'm going on tour. Everything's so happening in a quick space that you get distracted so easily. You don't even have time for yourself. And if you don't have time for yourself, quote unquote, what time are you making for the important things, which I wasn't? And one of the most important things is your faith. It's like, yeah, you might go to church on Sundays, but you're just going as an attendee. You're not actually like going to pay attention. So that's why I realize when you're younger, it's harder because when you're younger is when you have all that energy to be pa, 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 pa. As you get older, like now, I know this year has been like a chilled year for me because I needed to just slow down. And even slowing down now is like, this is the most time I've had to really just look at things that is like, wow, I didn't realize I wasn't focusing on this. So like, as I get older now and I have more control of my time, it's like, what are really my priorities now? Because when you're younger, you too, your priorities are not the same as they are now. Like you're worried more about the world, what everybody thinks, what all your friends are doing. And then, like you say, when you get married, a lot of distractions go. Oh, you're a friend, out. You're not going as much. Not that your spouse is saying stay in the house, but
I
it's
get
like
you. Your priorities change.
like I told somebody now, like for example, Lagos streets are meant for single guys. Why? Because when you're single, if I can be sleeping in my house today, somebody can come at 11, bro, let's go out. If I go out at 11 while single, what's it for? Okay, there's some girls I might see. I get to chill with my guys at least. Okay, if I'm in a relationship at 11 o'clock, if my babe should find out I'm out at 11 and I don't tell her, that's already stress. But if I tell her, she's still going to be saying, how far? Does she want to come? If she doesn't come, she's going to be expecting me to call her. If I go out and see babes now, I can't really talk to any babes because I have a babe now. My guys are going to be gallivanting with babes. So what did I come out for?
Changes.
Do you see? I said even the mentality starts to shift a bit now that you're like, okay, I had to find new things. So it's part of the process. It's part of the process, honestly.
For sure. Okay, so how do you deal with like, so you've spoken about how you deal with like fears and anxieties with God, or like with insecurities and like how, again, we live in a very judgmental and like, people that just speak about, other people's flaws and this and that. So what about insecurities? Like, how do you deal with those about, people like trying to judge or like measure you up to someone or compare you, this and that?
That one I don't care. Yeah. I really don't care. Like, even outside the God thing, see, that's why I said, like, I've gone to a point that, especially because I was an athlete, I still treat everything like an athlete, whereby if you talk about me or say I can't do anything, all right, I'll prove you wrong. Like, at least I'm going to try and prove you wrong. So even if I try and I do well, there's an impression you're going to have like, okay, this guy is serious. So that's just how I've been my whole life. Like, even when I was younger playing sports, I was always the smallest on my team, but it's like, I'll still be one of the best ones because it's like, okay, I will prove you wrong at least. Yeah. So it's the same thing with life now. It's like, everybody has insecurities. And if you're talking about somebody more than anything, then you definitely have more of the problem.
So I think how you answered that, I think was perfect because do you feel like being in your 30s now, like I feel there's like when they say like it's your best, like your 30s are like amazing, like I feel there's just like a peace that comes with it because like you really don't care about anything anymore except like what really matters.
It's more of a carefree, I realize too, like when you get 30 plus now, as they say, you don't give a fuck anymore because we're allowed to okay. It's like you really don't give a fuck anymore because you've gone through your 20s where you've dealt with those phases of trying to please people, worrying about everybody's opinion, and then you look at it and say, where did they get you? The times I really thought for myself, where did I go? The times I was worrying about other people, where did I go? And you compare, and you're like, the times I thought for myself were definitely a lot better. And then it's like, as you get 30 now, it's like, wait, as I reached 30, did anybody beat me when I decided to do what I wanted? No. When I said what I wanted, did they beat me? No. So who the hell is everybody? Yeah. I pay my own bills. Nobody is paying my bills. You understand? The only person I can say is paying a bill is, your mother or your parents, depending on your situation now. You get what I'm saying? But outside of that, even then, there's even my own mother. There's a boundary I had to even create with my mother that is like, see, I'm older, like, obviously respectfully. Like, but obviously living in her house now, because for me, I was about to move out, but then it's like, economically, we stay in Ikoyi already. Why not just save your money? Fair. But then I had to create a boundary of, I've always respected you. I always love you, no matter what. But you have to treat me a certain way, especially now that I'm older, because my own respect will never change for you, but you can't be treating me like my youngest siblings now, kind of piece.
Yeah.
So that I said, in all aspects of life, friendships, relationships, parents, your 30s, you create those boundaries of what you want for your life so you have more peace. And it's showing. Like, I'm happier at home now, like, especially with my mom. Happy with my relationship. Work now is just more, at this point now, I feel like the position I'm in now, God's given me another clean slate in terms of I have a great CV behind me of what I've done the first 30 years. But now is like, okay, with all the experiences and knowledge and relationships, what are you going to do with this now? Because you have the freedom to do what you like.
Yeah, facts. So last on this point, what kind of dad would you want to be?
Good question. One, I sounds funny again, but this is very Nigerian. One, I pray God just give me the finances I need to let my child do whatever they want. Let's just start there. So at least finances will be in place. So let's say finance was not an issue now. Very close with my kids. Very close in terms of I want to be participants in their life. Not that I'm forcing them to do what they want, but I'm supporting them 100% whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Will there be some things I push? Yeah.
I mean, you're like, the dad, you should.
The only thing, like, if I'm being honest, outside of education, see, no matter what, unless you are being drafted out of high school, everybody's going to uni. And everybody must get at this, and again, unless you are a top pick masters. That's it. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I did it, so you guys have to do it. So that's education. 2, sports. Now, I've realized I know my favorite sport might not be the one they may play. Hopefully they do. But if they don't, you still have to play some kind of sport because there are lots of life lessons you're going to learn from it that helped me. Because I didn't really grow up with my dad. Like, we used to see each other once in a while, but it was really my mom, my grandma, and my family that raised me. So a lot of things I had to learn on my own. And I tell people a lot of it I learned from sports. Because like I said, you mix with so many people. You're put in scenarios that is like, yeah, you're going to figure this thing out. So that's what I also want for my kids. So me being a father is a bonus because they're using principles from sports and from other things in life to figure it out, but you can always come to me to maybe get a speed ahead.
I get you. So with all you're doing now, like the podcast, the parties, like social media, this and that, what are you trying to do, like long term? What's your tough question? Like, what are your future ambitions?
So now with the content and media, I really want to take it up a notch where it's like we really have our own media channel as Sonariwo on deck. Like, I know YouTube is one thing I've been saying I want to go for now, and that's my next venture.
Okay.
Because I have Menisms, the podcast, doing well, but then my own TV shows on Menism on YouTube, my own shows. Want to produce some short films because I do a lot of skits. I want to produce some short films. I want to have a content house, just, where a lot of content can be generated, but partner with networks, brands. With the events, I'm going to bring back the beach events very, very soon. Take it up a notch too. And expand just more around the world, to be honest, because these last few years I've done what I needed to in Lagos. To the grace of God, He's blessed me. He's connected me with so many people. But now it's like the world is out there. So it's time to just take over the world now.
Love it, bro. Love it. So last, like to finish, we always have like this redemption segment. So was there like a moment or like a party or a relationship or something that happened and like you completely like kind of bombed it and or failed at it, and then you were able to like bounce back and like learn from it? So was there like one moment that you look back on and you're like, like this didn't go well at all, and then you learn from it? Or some people just say that everything was like no regrets.
I've had too many. Too many. Jesus Christ.
That one that stands out.
Even with Sunday at Ilashe, I remember like I almost lost Sunday at Ilashe, the first December edition we did. My whole reputation almost went down the drain because I remember the last Sunday at Ilashe was amazing. The first, when we started it, the first December edition sold out, was packed out. We already were selling out before, but that December one was like our biggest one at that time. And we had Fowls, we had Ajay, but we had so many artists come. So everything went well. Like, it was the greatest party. When it was time to leave, though, one of the area boys on the beach, because a lot of them are my workers, but there was one that got greedy with money and he got drunk. Because on the last day, we now let all of them drink too, because he said, okay, you guys have tried for us. Yeah. Oh yeah, here's food, here's drinks. So everybody's partying along with the area boys. But then this guy got too drunk and then started getting money hungry with other people. So eventually I find out. So I'm like, yo, what are you doing? So he's just like, yo, they don't want to give us money. I said, don't pay you people already. He's like, no, it's like, I don't want to pay us. So at first we're about to all handle it. Then I now tell everybody, like, leave him, let him go. Because I know him. When it's time for people to leave now, they're trying to leave, but they can't because he now locked the back gate and padlocked it. And it was now a whole bunch of IJGBs. So they start panicking but it was stupid, I can't lie. But they were, but I understand. They were like, oh my God, we're going to be kidnapped. Logically, how can you be kidnapped inside beach house? But I understand. So at that point, they're panicking. They want to kidnap us. Oh my God. Oh my God. So it was like a big stampede almost that I had to run to the front, hop the gate. We had to break the padlock. By the time we fix it, it's getting dark. People are panicking. So I'm now just going back and forth with my team on cars. No, get it. And these are hundreds of people all panicking. Then I had to even call the Navy even to help us. By the time we get back, the next day, my phone is just blowing up with parents from the UK, Nigeria. I'm going to sue. I'm going to find you people. Is this what you did to my children? So I had to be talking to the parents all day, calling people. But in the end, you'll see all the event highlights with all their children. Oh my God, that beach party. Oh my God, that's so much fun. So that's just one of many. But it's like moments like that, just like, again, you always feel like, I want to quit, but it's like, oh yeah, next time. So yeah. Love
it, bro. Honestly, now this has been really, really good. I knew like your perspective on a lot of these things I speak about. That's why I wanted to have a sit down with you, bro. So really, really appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me. Sonariwo on deck on Instagram, Sonariwo on deck on TikTok, Twitter, Menisms. Find us there. Mr. Sunday Attila Share. You know where to find me.
Everywhere.
Yeah, man. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for having me, man. Thank you, man. Brother.
So guys, hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, watch, and subscribe. Honestly, we continue to do big and great things here, bringing amazing guests for you guys to watch. Keep it locked on the Emeka Nwani Show on YouTube, on Instagram. Take care.